Hey guys, Colleen here, DIYer behind LemonThistle.com, and today I am excited to talk about brush lettering on a canvas using paint. So a few years ago, I made this canvas for over my fireplace. I made it in a bit of a rush for a living room makeover, and I didn't take any pictures or videos of the process, and I have had more questions about that canvas, I think, than anything else in my house. So a couple of weeks ago, when I partnered up with some girls on Instagram to do a stay home and DIY using paint, I thought that was the perfect opportunity to make a little tutorial for this style of lettering on a canvas. So for this video, I'm not showing my face because my kids are all home. I am hiding outside here because my kids are just super noisy inside, so you're gonna hear the birds, and I think that's really lovely. So I'm gonna share some tips on how to get that brushy brush stroke style look on the canvas like you would with ink and brush on paper. I'm not necessarily going to talk too much about how to brush letter itself. I have an entire e-course about how to brush letter if you're interested in that, and I will include some tips on here, absolutely. Brush lettering is a thick downstroke with a thin upstroke, and in this case, we're looking to get a relief in that thick downstroke, so get some variance and texture. I find that people either know how to brush letter and just want to know how to get this look when they ask the questions, or they have a font that they've traced onto a canvas that they just want to get that effect when they're tracing over the font with their paintbrush. Before you get started, if you are looking to make it look real fancy and like a finished piece, you would probably want to do a base layer on your canvas with white paint or white gesso. I did not bother, I'm just going to letter straight on top of the canvas, because I am an impatient DIYer. It'll look just fine, trust me. So for this project, I just lettered out "You are capable of amazing things." I just did this in pencil on a piece of paper, and then I freehanded it onto the bigger canvas. I am so impatient, so I didn't trace it or do anything fancy to get it set up, but that's definitely advisable if you want a finished piece. I just love to wing it. So after you've traced your design onto your canvas lightly in pencil, then you're going to want to go in and paint it. So to paint it, I just use general purpose acrylic craft paint. I have this Americana by Decoart paint. It's a multi-surface paint that I just have a large bottle of. I use it for everything in black, and then I'm going to use this ramekin here and mix it with a little bit of water. Now, depending how much water you mix in will give you more or less of a brushy look, but it will also dilute your color and you'll get more of a gray instead of a black. So the one that I did over my fireplace is more black lettering. This one turned out to be a little bit more gray because I added more water than I probably needed to, but I do really love the look of the gray as well. So that just is up to your preference. So mix it in with water, and the reason that you want to do this is because paint itself is quite thick, and so you'll have to reload your brush quite often, so you won't be able to get those longer brush strokes with the reliefs in them because you'll have to pick up your brush and reload it to get enough paint to make that one brush stroke. So the water just helps your brush hold more and unload it more evenly through a stroke. So you'll want to play until you get the right consistency. I just did this on my paper that I lettered my quote onto, and just keep adding more water or more paint until you're happy with the consistency. It's also a good idea to play on this piece of paper so that you can get the brush stroke style that you're looking for. So for those thick downstrokes, you want to press your paintbrush in on an angle, so you're not pressing the tip straight in, you're pressing the side of the paintbrush straight down so that almost the whole side of the paintbrush hits the canvas at once, and drag it down fairly quickly so that it doesn't have a chance to pool the paint, the water paint mixture, at the top of your brush stroke. Now for this project, I am using, I think, a size 4 round brush. I always use a round brush for my lettering. I just find it's my favorite to work with, and I don't use super high-end brushes, so whatever you can find at the craft store. Okay, so once you're happy with your brush strokes, it's time to get lettering on the canvas. Now, one of the things that I say all the time about lettering, especially with a paintbrush, is that it's not writing. So you're going to want to pick up your paintbrush as often as you can anytime a stroke changes direction or it intersects with another stroke. You can pick up your paintbrush, you can reload that paint, you can readjust your grip. It is not like handwriting where you want to keep your brush on the canvas for as long as possible. Number one, you're going to run out of paint, but number two, it's hard to get the shapes of some of these letters by doing that. One thing that I've found is that I like to paint in a downward stroke. I don't like to paint in an upward pattern. I find it really hard to get nice and even strokes. So brush lettering is thick on the downstroke, narrow on the upstrokes. But when I'm painting, I like to do my upstrokes in a downward motion anyways. I just make sure to paint those narrow as if they were an upstroke. This just comes from having painted my lettering a few times, and I've just noticed that I am not as good at getting those upstrokes nice and smooth with a paintbrush. Wherever you reload your paintbrush, you're going to notice that that space is darker, so you may want to feather that out or blend that in. I try to reload on an upstroke so that it can blend into the bottom of a heavy downstroke. That is all. It is really so simple. I didn't do anything to seal this off. Since it is a multi-purpose craft paint, it's going to stay on there. It's not going to scrape off, scratch off, flake off. We're going to use it in our bathroom, and I think that it'll hold up to the humidity really well. This is the same craft paint that I used on our front door mat that I lettered on, and it's been outside since last summer, so all winter long, and the paint has held up just great. So I don't think you need to do anything to seal this off. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more DIY or home decor videos. And as always, if you want to be notified about new videos, make sure to hit that bell. And if you're looking for more information on lettering, I do have a bunch of hand lettering practice sheets for free on my blog, or I have a paid hand lettering e-course. I'll link both of those down below as well. We'll see you guys next time. Okay, so I'm technically done. That was pretty quick for me, but I'm gonna have to wait for it to dry before I can erase pencil lines. But I did want to make note of a couple things, because I could sit here and I could pick this apart all freaking day and make touch-ups and just like go back in and like fix all the lines, and I'm not sure that I'd love it anymore. And I feel the same way about the one over my fireplace. Like, I don't hate it, but I could point out to you so many flaws. Let me turn this around. I could point out everything wrong with this. I mean, I sit in my living room and I stare at it, right? So like, this is my least favorite. Like, what is this-y? I don't even know. I could be so critical. I've spelled Teresa wrong and Mother Teresa. People have pointed that out to me several times. I mean, I could make a new one. I could redo this and I could do it better. Like, this is too thick. I could say, like, why is this light? And then this is so dark. Like, there is lots of things that I could pick out as not liking about this. But I think that is the thing that I have learned with lettering and with DIY is that it's never going to be totally perfect. It's never going to look completely like it came from the store. Like, it'll look pretty freaking close. I mean, I love the things that I make and I'm proud of them, but as the person who's made them, you see every little flaw and you're always going to notice those things. But those little details are also what makes it look handmade, which is kind of what makes it special, right? If you were to go and like buy something off of Etsy, that's what you would want to see. But when you make it yourself, that's what makes it not perfect and makes you like, oh, well, I messed up on this. And I feel the need to like point that out to everybody that compliments me on it, because so I would say if you want to try something like hand lettering or DIY or anything, like, get it to the point that it's good enough and then walk the heck away so you don't wreck it with all your little fixes. And also keep in mind that most of the things that you see online are edited, whether that be somebody has edited their home decor photo or their face photo for makeup, or if you're seeing lettering, most of the time these days it's digital lettering, like it's done on the iPad, and that's a lot easier than lettering with a marker, I've got to be honest. So give yourself a little bit of grace.